So this is my question 3, and it's what have you learned from your audience feedback? So I believe that audience feedback has been a key part of my planning, production, and evaluation, as it's allowed me to understand what audiences demand and obviously like to see in a horror trailer. To begin with, I sent out a questionnaire, and this allowed me to get a response from our target audience and develop my trailer's narrative through that, and even other elements. Um, for example, um, I received that I received a stat saying that 58% of my audience wanted to see a supernatural horror rather than a slasher or a thriller. This is one of the main reasons behind me deciding to create a supernatural horror, because this allowed me to understand what my target audience prefer. Also, I learned that 73% wanted a male antagonist and a female protagonist. In terms of representation, this allowed me to understand what people actually want to see in terms of like how people are represented. Like conventionally, you can see you'll see females being the antagonists in a horror narrative, and maybe the audience wanted something quite different. And I also learnt that 64% of my audience wanted the location to be in a house. This is probably because of the fact that you'll see a lot of horrors within houses, for example, Insidious and Ouija. So I think it's quite a common element within horror for it to be in a house. So I developed all these factors into my trailer to appeal to my target audience. But now that my cross-media package is finished, I've decided to upload my trailer and market it on different social media platforms, as it's allowed me to save on marketing costs. And it allows me to appeal to my target audience directly. I marketed my trailer on Snapchat, which is now becoming more popular and conventional way to market and advertise. And I received a lot of positive feedback, but I had to ask permission from people in order to publicize these messages. Primarily, these were more of a young audience who responded, as Snapchat's more for like teenagers. Maya Ovi, who's quite a big horror, supernatural horror fan, gave the response that she loved it, which is quite a positive sign, as it allows me to understand that my target audience is fond of my production. Keishan Xiao, who's not so much a horror fan but more of a social realism fan, also gave a positive response, as he said it was very good, which allowed me to understand that obviously he must have enjoyed like the visual aspects of it. Ruben also responded by saying it's actually hella lit, which which means it was quite good, and that's quite a positive response to hear. And that obviously allowed me to learn again that he's quite fond of my production. Another response I got on Snapchat was from somebody called Dane here, who's he has quite a lot of knowledge on with horror, because he's quite a big horror fan. So he said that he really liked. What did he say? He responded with that he rated the trailer, which means he liked it, and he also was quite. And he also liked the editing, which is good to hear, because I tried quite hard with the editing to get it right, and it was quite good to hear that I got some positive feedback on that. So, carrying on from that, another person responded was Joey Keevedy, and he said that he loved the shot of before the end credits, and that one was quite a good response because of the fact that I believe that the end of the trailer is possibly one of the most crucial parts because that really sets how what the audience is going to think of it. So the fact that I've got a positive response on the end of a trailer is quite good. So it obviously shows that I've done well in terms of like visual aspects again and cinematography. And another response that I got was from my friend he's actually doesn't have much knowledge on horror, and he responded with "This is hard, bro," which again is a positive response. So overall, I've got quite a positive response from like a young audience, and that's quite good to hear overall. And um, this like allowed me to understand what a young audience thinks of my trailer. Furthermore, on I also posted on to YouTube, which is basically one of the main platforms to publish your trailers. So I've received a lot of feedback on YouTube to begin with, and a lot of it was positive, but I did get some constructive criticism too. Especially from Arshdeep, who's another A-level student. So what he said was that he thought the lighting was very good, the sound was perfect, but one improvement that I should have made is to animate the captions to fit the disequilibrium stage. It's always good to have some sort of constructive criticism because it allows you to remember for next time. So thank you to Arshdeep. Also, another person that responded was Diego, and he says this was quite a good response for me to hear. This is because he said it gave a very cinematic feel and shows good production skills, especially for an A-level student. Well done. Thank you to Diego. One of the best responses I got was actually from another A-level student called Kavish. He said that this is a very good trailer and uses many good cinematography techniques, as the shot types and shot angles are very good, which makes the atmosphere more intense. The suspenseful, non-diegetic sound fits the visuals very well and also adds the trailer's suspense and horror. Thank you to Kavish, and for me that was a really good response because it allowed me to understand even people with experience within media have liked my trailer and liked the visual elements and the editing that I've done, which took quite a long while. So it was quite good to hear that I got a positive response from that. So this also allowed me to like understand that people are quite fond of my production, which is again a positive. So it's allowed me to actually understand that what sort of elements people like to see within a horror, and yeah, so it's quite good. Yash, who's actually quite a good videographer, and his trailer was amazing. So his opinion was quite vital for me, as he said that he said there was a good use of lighting and to make the antagonist appear. It was really engaging, which was quite a good response again because it allowed me to understand that my audience are actively engaged, like which again links to the uses and gratification theory. That's quite good for me to understand because it it allows me to understand the fact that the elements of lighting and stuff that I've used has allowed the audience to actually engage with the production, which is a very good response to have. Overall, I got a few responses. Another one that I got was from Dhruv Shukla, who's a media student too, and he says, being the creative designer, all I have to say is this is a grade A star, which personally I'm not sure about. I can't say anything about that, but thank you to Dhruv. And Daniel said great cinematography, so thank you for that. And Beast Games 1234 responded with, can't wait to see this banger. Thank you, whoever that is. I think that's Jay. Okay, thank you. Overall, I got quite a positive response from YouTube, and seemingly it was quite a mature audience, except from Beast Games 1234, who responded with, can't wait to see this banger. It actually allowed me to understand that horror fans. It allowed me to get the opinion of horror fans with knowledge on elements of horror, and this allowed me to understand that they were fond of my production overall. Also, I decided to market on Instagram too, and this got a few positive responses, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because with Instagram, I wouldn't say I got that many responses, just only one or two. So again, I got one from Arshdeep who said that my trailer was amazing and the lighting and narrative was perfect. Furthermore, to that, thank you to Arshdeep anyway. So from social media, I got quite a few responses, and I also posted on Facebook, and firstly that didn't get too many responses. This is more because people are actually starting to stop using Facebook as much, so that's why I decided to market more and more on like Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube, because they're probably the main three to market at the present moment. So that's why I didn't focus too much on Facebook to market. And carrying on from that, anyway, I wanted to get like an opinion of my audience face to face. So what I decided to do was now do a focus group. So here we go. I'm gonna start the trailer.
Are you sure you want to go through with this? I must do this for the two most important people in my life.
I can't believe we live here. It's such a big house.
We definitely deserve it, but then again, I couldn't do it without you.
This is an amazing house.
Sometimes at night, I'll be hearing these strange noises.
Hold on, just getting a phone call. Hello? 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 Who is this? Hello?
It's taken my life. I don't know what I'll do with them. I need your help.
I've seen many cases in my life. To be able to truly understand the force that possesses your brother, you must enter the house.
last bit.
Alright, that was actually decent.
The last bit got me again.
Thank you. I have a few questions I want to ask you guys. I'll translate it a bit from media terminology so you can understand. First question is, was the equilibrium and disequilibrium clear? Does anybody have any questions about what that means?
It's just, is it level or not level?
Equilibrium is basically when everything's basically kind of like happy and basically normal. Disequilibrium is basically when the problem starts. Yeah, the opposite.
I thought that was quite a good balance with like the pharmacies and then near the ending how there's a bit of a disequilibrium.
It was clear because in the equilibrium there was lighting, the music was happy, and in disequilibrium it was low-key lighting, and then you had loads of like drops of sound, and then intensified music, which made it clear that was disequilibrium.
What did you think about it?
It had intense music. It was nice. I like the way it went from this happy scene to just this dramatic scene.
Yeah, and the scene where your actor got the phone call, it went from light to dark like instantly, and that was good as well.
What did you think too?
Yeah, I like the lighting and everything, the effects that you put in there. Really, like, horror films about the sound.
Yeah. Was the do you believe the genre was clear?
Yes, I think conventionally horror movies usually start off with like a happy scene, which was like the husband and wife.
Yeah.
I think that was like a happy old, they bought a new house and stuff.
Did you?
And then after that, straight away, as soon as that finished, it was conventional and it was clear that the genre was alright.
Did you like the way that it started with a disequilibrium, then equilibrium? It actually starts showing like from further. What do you call it? What happens further on within the trailer?
Yeah, that's very effective. Yeah, it's not conventional, but that's effective.
Yeah. Okay. So, what aspects really stood out for you?
I think the editing was quite good, to be honest, with the really good sound effects.
Yeah.
Fast cuts. The fast cuts were really good, especially towards the montage scene.
Yeah.
And right at the end, that jump scare.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
It just made it obvious that it was actually horror genre.
Yeah.
What did you think overall?
It was a good trailer. I like the seance scene.
Yeah.
It was
I think
candle. That was pretty good.
It is a conventional trailer. Like it shows like all the aspects of a horror movie, but I think what was really good about it was that it didn't reveal too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, into the storyline.
Yeah.
So the audience will actually want to go watch it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this question individually now. Would you watch the movie after watching the trailer?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because don't know why they killed that guy, and I'm interested to find out.
I don't think I would, because it's quite conventional of a trailer to do this. But for what it is, I still think it's quite good.
I would like to see what happens to one of your actors and how he becomes possessed, which I thought happened.
I would, because you've kept the identity. You didn't reveal too much of the antagonist.
Yeah.
I think he only liked the little bit where he got killed. I think that was really effective. So I want to like know what happens more to him, the story behind it, why they killed him, and so on.
It's
so,
quite clear as well how
Yeah.
it was pretty clear how it was actually a flashback and not just like something that was happening at the time.
But although it
Experiencing.
is very conventional, it's still something that you would want to watch because of the trailer. Like if the trailer wasn't effective, if it didn't show aspects of the disequilibrium, or it didn't give out the aspects where your antagonist, antagonist slash protagonist was killed, if that wasn't shown, then I probably wouldn't have watched it. But because you did show it, you want to know what happened.
You teased it a bit. That's good.
Thank you.
So, after that focus group, I believe I got a good few responses in terms of was the equilibrium clear and disequilibrium clear, and the majority response was that it was quite clear, which was obviously a positive because this shows that people could understand the storyline, where things are going wrong, where things are okay, when there's disruptions recognised and all that. So this was a positive for me, and I learned that, yeah, it was quite clear. Was the genre clear? Yeah, they all understood that it was a supernatural horror, so this was quite a positive for me because I don't need to worry about audiences not understanding what's going on in terms of the narrative and the genre. So yeah, it was quite good, quite a good response. And what aspects really stood out to them was really just a lot of sound and editing, which I worked quite hard on personally. So that was quite good to hear, the fact that that stood out to them, and different shots as well. So yeah, again, a positive response. Would they watch the movie after watching the trailer? They were quite honest about it. So one person actually said no, they wouldn't. I took that on board because, again, it allows me to understand where I can improve my overall production. But the rest, yeah, they said they would watch it and they were quite fond of the trailer. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that.